Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Melissa, and I am going to attempt to do a paycheck budget closeout for the first paycheck of June. That paycheck ran from the 6th of June and it closed out on the 18th. So if you want to know how the numbers played out, please stay tuned. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you for clicking on this video. I'm not sure how this closeout is going to go, but I did let you guys know that I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I won't be going through the transaction log line by line like I have gone through before. Most of the transactions, I already tell you guys about it in YNAB, so I don't want my videos to be repetitive. So I'm just going to come in, I'm going to go over the numbers for the closeout, and if there's anything to be noted, I will jump into the transaction log and show you guys. So for this pay period that we're closing out, we started with $0 in rollover. Our main income was budgeted for $4,655 even, but we ended up bringing in $4,672.98. So we were up by about $20, just about. So there's no miscellaneous or transfers being brought into this paycheck, but it wasn't budgeted, but I ended up bringing in $1,243.92. So what I was expecting to work with for the paycheck was $4,655, but ultimately we brought in $5,916.90. And I'm going to jump over into the transaction log to show you guys what exactly contributed to this amount. So I went ahead and I already checked them off. So my main income was $2,330.98. Hubby's income was $1,000. We brought in $470, which is half of the car payment that was set aside. Hubby transferred $400 in. This was to pay towards the plane tickets for Spirit Air, which is this transaction right here. The SSI benefits came in for $1,342. I made $30.61 doing Instacart. This was a very slow week. Things hadn't picked up yet, so the next pay period you will see a higher amount, which you guys already heard about in my YNAB paycheck budget. And next up, there was one other thing that I needed to highlight, because as you can see, our highlights that is in this yellow color is for all of the incoming, just so it stands out at me. So $343.31 was brought in from savings. All right, so now let's just jump into the numbers over here and let's just talk about what happened during the month. So I had budgeted to set aside half the rent for $1,250, and initially I did set aside that amount, but the budget called for the money, so I had to pull some money out. I took out $250, so ultimately I only set aside $1,000 for next month's rent. I did want to set aside half of the electric bill, but I had to pull money back out, and I only set aside $10.29. One main was paid. I paid $2 more because I did mention this to you guys before, that I wanted to switch accounts for where my payment was coming out of. So I made a $2 payment to see if it was all set, and they were able to pull the money from there. Car insurance, I budgeted $266. It came in under $265.53. Renter's insurance, nothing was budgeted or paid. Braces was on budget for $164. The auto loan I did have in this pay period for $470 because I had already set aside half of it. So what I should have done was calculate the income in this budget and then put the full amount to be paid. But anyway, the full amount was paid for $939.23. And like I mentioned over here, this $470 up here was the half of the payment for the car loan that I brought back into the budget. So for the cell phone, I budgeted $150, but I didn't get to set aside anything. And also for the internet, I budgeted $62, but I did not get to set aside anything. Lending Club $530 was budgeted, and that was what was paid. The babysitter, I budgeted 2 payments, for the week, so that's $440, and that's what was paid. Child support came in also on budget for $263. The after school, so I did sort this out, and I mentioned this to you guys in my YNAB video. I will link that. I budgeted $40, but I don't need to pay anything because there is a credit on the account. Subscriptions, I budgeted $45, but I came in over budget at $49.15. So out of the $3,990 that I budgeted to spend, I ended up spending $3,917.20. So in the everyday spending section, I didn't budget anything for copay and meds, and I didn't pay anything. Eating out, this is where our problem lies for this pay period. I budgeted $10, but we ended up spending $188.17, and I did mention this in my other video that I budgeted my paycheck was that we are side hustling, and like I stated in that video also, we don't eat as much as at home, also even with the kids. I'm going to jump into the transaction log and just explain that to you guys. I'm going to have to flip through them. So here's a eating out. I took my kids for pizza for $8. We were out on the road. There's another one here for $43.91. So hubby, this is from Uber Eats on the 10th. So hubby was out hustling with them, and he had me Uber them some dinner because he wasn't going to be able to make it back home, to get them dinner. So that was $43.91. Next is on the 13th, I went to the bagel shop and I bought myself some breakfast for $17. I was out Instacarting that day, so I got something to eat. Next again is $35 for stir fry. We went to the mall. This was the day before my daughter's birthday, and we ended up getting her some stuff in the mall, and we stopped and went to the food court. So this was $35.14. The bagel shop again, I got myself some breakfast for $9.48. The bagel shop again, so I was working the morning shift and I didn't get a chance to bring breakfast or make myself breakfast. So $11.60. Ice cream shop, I treated myself to ice cream at it's actually frozen yogurt for $14.96, and McDonald's for $20.19. I was out with the kids this day, side hustling, of course. Next up, the bagel shop again at work for $6. And here we go again. I went back to the ice cream shop because I actually love their yogurt, frozen yogurt. So $14.74 I ended up spending there. So for all of that, that's the $188.17. And I mentioned that I do need to reel this in and figure out how to come up with a balance, as in when I am out hustling, we can we need to do something. So we don't need to go out and hustle to bring money in, but then spend the money eating out. And also the kids left today, so we won't be, I guess, spending as much money in groceries because they're going to be gone for 2 weeks. So we'll see how that works out. Okay, fuel for the vehicle, I budgeted $100, but I came in under budget. I spent $95.04. Groceries, I did budget for $200, but ended up spending $345.55. So I think what contributed to that amount of money was that I shopped in my area, and my area is very expensive. And because I was side hustling, I didn't want to go to the cheaper store. It was going to take me about an hour to get there. So I decided to shop local, and shopping local is more expensive. So here we go. This was King Cullen for $15.44, Stop and Shop for $22.36, Stop and Shop again for $183.31. And I'm just flipping through this. $4.28 for the Stop and Shop, $24.07 for a market that I go to, a local market. Stop and Shop again for $63.52. $8.50 at CVS, and $24.07 back at the market. So that's what the grocery budget comprised of, or the grocery spending comprised of, for this first pay period. Heating oil, nothing We don't need to get anything, so we're doing good so far. I need to start saving for it because I know it's going to be hectic again once it gets colder. So I need to figure that out. Household goods, I budgeted $50. I spent $14.06, so this was great. I didn't need to get as much stuff as I thought I did. Miscellaneous car expense, nothing budgeted or spent. Other kids expense, so I didn't budget anything here, but I ended up spending $276.10, and this was because I ended up buying my little one clothes for her birthday, and also balloons and all kinds of stuff that I did mention in my YNAB video. If you want to see what's comprised of in this expense, go take a look. So personal spending, I budgeted $25, but it was $475.43. So this is only because we had the second payment for the tickets that I ended up buying through Afterpay, and I did mention that. Anyway, hubby was the one who paid for the majority of that bill. So the bill was $444 and I think 98 cents. Let's see. So yeah, $444.98, and hubby sent over the $400. I spoke about this up here. All right. So let's see. Next up, propane. We don't need anything right now, and I didn't budget or spend anything. Giving, I didn't budget anything, but I'm starting to split out the tips that I'm giving the barber and also any tips that I give anyone. So that's $5 that I gave the barber for my son's haircut. Savings, $48 was budgeted. I only sent over $5. That was not cool because I ended up pulling some money out of that. Unexpected spending, nothing was budgeted, but I spent $199.35. So originally I had a lot of stuff coming into the category of unexpected spending, but I did end up going back in and pulling some stuff out. So I'm going to tell you exactly what was unexpected. This $35 at the post office, this was for a passport application through the post office. And then $160 was the amount that the Department of State collects to renew my son's passport. Okay. And then I went to the UPS store to send back some stuff that hubby bought on Amazon, and I had to pay $4.35 for them to print a label. And that was it for the unexpected spending. So I only budgeted $433 for the everyday spending category, but I spent $1,603.70. Now in the credit card section, I didn't budget anything for Marcus. I budgeted $165 for Discover, but Discover's money was rerouted into the budget because I did use my Discover card to purchase gas. And when I made the payments back to the card for the gas, it satisfied the minimum payment. So I just held back and I didn't put that minimum payment, the additional money into the card. I sent it somewhere else. And it actually ended up down here in the Capital One number 1 card because I didn't budget anything for Capital One, but I had to pay $306 and a penny. So back up here, Mattress Firm was budgeted at $67, and that was what was paid. So out of $232 that was budgeted, we paid $373 and a penny. So in the summary section, I had budgeted a total income of $4,655. We brought in $5,916.90. And it's a zero-based budget, so those were supposed to be my total expense. But I ended up spending $5,893.91. So we were left over with $22.99, which it's pretty close. I think I came in at 23 and some change. So there is a little bit of money somewhere that I'm missing that I didn't account for, but it's not much. I was not off by much. So you guys, that's what it is. That's the money that was spent. I didn't do too bad. Certain categories was overspent, and we're going to try to do better this pay period. So until next time, you guys, my name is Melissa, and I appreciate you guys for watching. Bye now.